you want it. Yep. Just saying that recording now. All right, here we go. Hello, my fellow questers and cybernauts. Welcome back to Metaverse Adventures. My name's Immersive Matthew, and of course, I'm the developer here at Metaverse Adventures, working on the Into the Metaverse virtual dark ride, which is coming together really so nicely. I'm so pumped about how it's come together. I don't know if you've had a chance yet to see the demo. If you're new to the channel or haven't checked it out yet, link below in the description to go and see what it's all about. Preferably you've got an Oculus Quest, 1 or 2, doesn't matter. You can go experience it there. Maybe you've got a Steam VR headset. I've just released it on Steam VR, but it looks like there's a holdback on my build. So the link may not work tonight. The page is there, but the download might not be. But just go ahead and bookmark it and check back in a few days. I think we'll get this probably issue resolved. The whole process of actually putting a title on Steam is probably worth a video in of itself. I have some interesting commentary on that. But yeah, tonight's all about, for live streaming, a new tool, a tool by name of R1 Animation, R1 tool, sorry, an animation tool. We're going to be really showcasing that here in this video. And it's going to be all tagged below. So if you don't want to spend the next 2 or 3 hours with me looking at this amazing animation tool, it's going to blow your mind. It's so next level. AAA dev studios are even going to be taking a look over here to see what's going on, because it's so amazing how I've been animating these, what I call Metatronics, because the word audio animatronic, for those Imagineers and Disney enthusiasts out there would know, that's a copyrighted Disney term. So they're not audio animatronics, they're Metatronics. But I can't use the word Imagineering because that actually was not invented by Disney, believe it or not. It's actually created by an aluminum company of all places. Right? Isn't that like surprising? But yeah, this video is all about Imagineering. Like I said, I'm going to tag all the sections I talk about in the next 2 or 3 hours, whatever it's going to be. Maybe we'll have a crash and it'll be over in 30 minutes. You never know how things go with Unity. But I'm going to tag it all. So if you're just here and you just want to see me snap into one of the characters and just go ahead and animate it, that'll be tagged below in the description along the actual play bar as well. You know how YouTube's been doing that kind of segmented view. When you hover over that part of the timeline, it'll tell you the title of what that section is. So that's gonna be really handy to navigate through this huge mess. But if you're a developer, especially an indie developer, and you've got animation that you wanna do on your web, on your game, this is going to blow your mind, because what would normally take a professional animator weeks and weeks of work to do. And I know that because my wife is actually a 3D animator, and she works on quite large blockbuster films, and right now working on cool Disney Plus content. So she knows how to animate. That's all she does day in and day out. When I had her animate some of my characters, it took her a very long time to do, like weeks. And that's just how it is in that industry. I mean, you're manipulating little parts in the arm this way, lip up that way. I mean, every frame you're having to tweak. It's like, almost like stop motion. It's a lot of work. And so this tool, instead of doing all that, kind of more traditional way of animating, this tool allows you to literally just snap into any character that's rigged, and we'll get into some details of what that means, and then just go ahead and just animate it. And you're not just animating it, out in an empty room. You're actually animating it, and you'll see this today in this video. We're gonna be animating it right in the scene within Unity that you're going to be actually then later on seeing that ride, that character in the ride, or whatever title you might be working on. It doesn't have to be my ride. This tool is available for other people as well. So this is going to be pretty darn cool to see that. So that's what we're going to be showing today. But before I go too much further, let me have a dial into the comments. I'm just going to ask everyone if the audio is okay. I do have some music playing in the background. It's all public domain music, so I can just play it at my will. But I just want to make sure the volume of that versus my voice is okay. So I'm going to go and have a listen on my phone. I got it playing over here on the YouTube and just see where it's at. Perfect. So that sounds like the music's way in the background as I intended. I've got a lot of volume within Unity today because the things we're going to be doing is going to require some audio cues, and I'll explain more of that when we get into this. What I'm going to be really showing you here is sort of not only this animation tool, but I know there's a lot of people who are very interested in doing virtual Imagineering, building really cool theme park-like rides, dark rides as they're called, inside of digital domains. And there's some great people on my Discord, which if you're not a member, link in the description. It's where we all hang out and talk about dark rides. Not only this dark ride that I'm working on here, but we're talking about some really cool Minecraft dark rides. And if I'm gonna go to the Discord right now, I'm just gonna bring it up here. And actually I'll share this with you all right now. So just give me a second here. I'm gonna add that screen in. This will be Discord. I'm just going to add it to my OBS. For those of you who any streamers out there, OBS is like kind of the go-to streaming tool that we all use. Let me just see here. There it is, Discord. Okay, so you should all be seeing. It's going to bring it a little bigger. Okay, so I'm going to go to Discord. There's a great little community here. You can kind of see what it's all about. I do a lot of the kind of this rides announcements in this section here into the metaverse. I've got another game that I'm working on that's not very far along yet, but more details than that eventually. It's called Seek Me. But then we have more general areas where we're talking about virtual theme parks in general. I don't know what you think, what the future of virtual theme parks is going to be like. It's probably a whole show we could have on that. It's a really big topic, but it's kind of where my head's at. Off topic, but still cool, and of course cryptocurrency, which is a kind of a repeating theme as you'll see on this channel. And then anything related to this YouTube channel. I should probably announce this video right now. Hold on a second, let me just do that. We probably should do that under the YouTube channel. Online now. Oops. Let me go and put the link right here. I'm sorry, I'm just looking for the stream link on my computer. I'm gonna have to go to my own channel to find it. So weird. Used to be right visible. There it is. Like I said, it's gonna be a long video. So if you, again, just repeat, if you're the kind of person who just wants to get to the cool stuff, again, just look right below. I'll have a lot of like links. So if you want to know the next cool thing that I'm gonna be working on other than looking for this, just go ahead and look there and I'll jump you straight to that. So right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and get YouTube, this YouTube link out. There it is. And I'm gonna paste it over here in Discord. I don't know why it says devlog number 3. Hold on a second, that seems wrong. Oh, that is the correct video. I don't know why. When I shared this video, you just saw that. I'm going to copy the link again. Yeah, it came back as a different video. Isn't that so weird? Oculus Quest occlusion culling devlog. I did do a development log on that some time ago. Let me go back so you can see me again. Let me get out of Discord here. That's so weird that it remembered that. You know, sometimes the internet is kind of creepy that way, where you ever put like your phone number in one of those like fill out forms online and you're just like a new company that you're filling out and it remembers like a address that you had like a decade ago and you're like, how on earth would they know that? It's creepy. And I'm sure you've all had those moments. Okay, where's my OBS? I gotta change this. I turn that off. Boom. Yeah, you know what I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's creepy. Okay, so let's get into the details of this super cool tool. So for those of you who have been following along with my virtual dark ride, it's been coming along very nicely. As you know, I've done the first 8 scenes. It ends up being a 10-minute ride, which includes for the unload area. So in that scene, the last actual scene of the ride, of course, is the print press. All those like cool kind of matrix grid lines, all moving digital looking room and space that you saw after, and the moon and all that. That was all sort of like the climax of this ride. It's going to be altered when it gets there, but it's sort of like a hint of the climax. But really the ride continues on straight from that, that print press scene, right? Where you see Johannes Gutenberg pulling on that handle and the guy, you know, is filing away over in the corner. When you leave that room, you're gonna actually go out and you're gonna enter the next scene. So this is scene number 9 out of like, I'm thinking anywhere as low as 24 to 32 scenes total. So it's gonna be a pretty long ride. I'm sort of targeting the 25 to 35 minute range, which is, you know, a significant length. Most dark rides at theme parks like Disney and Universal and other theme parks, you know, your average is like under 10 minutes. Even Disney rides are on average around 10 minutes. There's a few exceptions, of course, that are way longer. And this one's going to be longer than that. And I think that I'm okay. And the reason why I feel like I'm okay is that so far, the feedback I've been getting from both friends I know and people who've tried it, plus anonymous people who just, leave a review or not. In some cases, they comment in the Discord. But unanimously, no one has ever said it was too short. I think it's always like, wow, you just got me going. It ended too soon. That was the biggest complaint. So I really do believe a 25 to 35 minute ride is totally going to be something that people will be willing and will want to sit through. But, we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong in that, and people will want really short, quick content in this space. But it does seem to be a captivating ride so far. So as you exit that scene, you're going to be coming in here. And so let me show you. Let me just double check that you're seeing my Unity screen here. It's always so hard, hey, when you're doing live stuff to be able to see what you're all seeing in real time. I have it on my computer here. I just don't trust that what I'm seeing on the other browser is what you're seeing, because I've had it not always work out. So let me go over to my channel here. Yeah, I don't know why the thumbnail for this video says devlog number 3. No big deal. I'll fix it later, but it's one of those things like how did that happen? It's like some sort of glitch in the Google system. Yeah, looks like it's working fine. Okay, so let me give you a quick introduction. Let me pull it from my browser on my Unity, and I'm gonna make this to my default layout. So what I thought I would start with is I'm going to come back to this scene here in a minute. I'm going to quickly give you a really quick tour of the next scene in the ride. And if you're a Patreon member, also down below, of course, all this stuff, in the tier 2 and above, I'm actually giving the install files for the Oculus Quest. And by popular demand, I'll do it for Steam as well, Steam VR. But so far it's been the Oculus Quest. And I will provide those in those levels, and you can go and try out this very scene that I'm about to share with you here on the flat. And as you know, seeing things on flat screen just is not, it's just not the same thing, right? I'm gonna turn lighting on. Oh, looks like our lighting needs to be turned on. Oh, I see the problem. 1 second here, it's blown out. I need to shut off my the direct light in here. Let me search for that. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Unity. I'm assuming some of you are developers who are here today to look at this animation tool. So I'm sorry if all this is not your cup of tea, because you know it inside and out. Again, just look below if you want to skip to the good bits. But for those of you who are never seen a development engine before, or this is all new to them, welcome. This is what Unity looks like. Not too dissimilar from other game engines like Unreal or Godot. Isn't quite a popular one these days. They're similar. They have differences for sure, and I'm not an expert at all of them, so I couldn't tell you, ins and outs of all of them. But my playing around with all of them says they're all very similar, kind of like how a word processor from Apple versus a word processor from Google or from Microsoft are all sort of similar. It's kind of like that similar, but they're different. I seem to still have the directional light here. Maybe I just need to do a light bake, because I think I may have cleared my lighting earlier. So let me do that first. Light baking, for those of you who aren't in the know, is just simply lights that you have in your game, or in my case, ride, that you don't want operating in real time. And by real time, I mean that as the game is running, frame by frame, as it's going 72 frames per second or more in your quest, is calculating each and every light and how it's bouncing and what it's hitting and what's moving, and it's very complicated calculations, and it takes a lot of processing power to do that. And with something like the Oculus Quest, it just doesn't have that much processing power. So really it's about getting smart. So one of the things you do to fix that is you bake your lights, meaning that you have these lights that you play around with in Unity, and when you're happy with them, you hit this bake button, and literally it runs all the mathematics and equations that it would have to do anyways in real time. It does it kind of ahead of the time, right? Kind of, it bakes, and it takes that information and it bakes it. So it takes a texture, let's say a wall, and because it knows there was a light over here and that light was shining on that wall, and there was something in the way of the wall of the light, so there was a shadow over here and things like that, that kind of, they call like a layer gets applied to that texture. So later on when you're playing it back, it looks like that light is still shining on it, because that calculation of the shining has been saved. And it saves a lot of processing power in the Oculus Quest, so it doesn't have to calculate the lights if they're baked. So most of my lights in the ride, of course, are baked. And there's a lot of lights in here. For those of you who are interested, there's a page on the Metaverse Adventures, metaverse-adventures.com website for stats. If you're a geek, a dark ride geek, that's where to go, because I know I like to compare as, well, how does it compare to Haunted Mansion? How does it compare to Spaceship Earth or Horizons or all these fantastic, current and in-path dark rides? And it's surprising how in the digital world, when I added up my numbers of a 10-minute pilot, it's kind of similar to a ride like the Haunted Mansion is a good example. Or Spaceship Earth, which a lot of people said this ride kind of reminds them of a little bit. And certainly there's some inspirations of that particular attraction. I would also say things like Horizons. I don't know how many of you have ridden Horizons. I love that ride. What a fantastic ride. It's too bad it had to go away, but I understand that the crowds want more fun, more thrill rides like GM Test Track, which is a great ride. Wheel of Motion was more charming, but I understand that's not where the market's at. And I don't know where the market's at for VR dark rides like Into the Metaverse. Maybe no one cares, I don't know. Reviews are really good, downloads are okay, but the way the algorithms work, you don't get noticed until you get more downloads, it seems like. But I'm gonna keep plugging away because I just love dark rides. So I'm just looking at my light bake, and for some reason, it's going to take 26 minutes. I'm just going to show the mouse if you can see. No, you can't see it because I'm in the way. Let me just pull it over here. I'll pull me out of the way. Right down here it says. So right now it's saying it's going to be 26 minutes, and I'm kind of wondering why that would be. Oh, I see the problem. Somehow, and this happens every now and then with Unity, this will happen. I'm going to cancel this. You'll see up here the light settings are missing. I don't actually know why this happens, but it does happen to me like every couple weeks. This problem will happen and I'll realize that it's missing. I think it's called Final 5. This one here. So I already have a light settings, there we go, that uses the GPU, so this will be significantly faster. So with Unity, you can do what we're doing, this operation where it does that light baking I was describing. It can bake it on the CPU, so your Amazon, your AMD or your Intel chip most likely, or maybe you got one of the new Macs and you got an M1 chip in there or something. That chip can do the light baking calculations, a lot of complex math. But if you have a GPU, it does go significantly faster. And so I don't know how fast you saw just a minute ago. It tells you. We can probably go back and look in the video once this one starts. What's it doing? Is it going? It tells you the actual how many gigapixels per second or megapixels per second. M-rays right there, M-rays per second. If you can see where I'm waving the mouse, can you see it on your screen? Yeah, you can see that right here. Right now I'm on 342 M-rays per second, and I don't know what it was when I was doing it before because it defaulted to the CPU, but you can go back and look, and it's way less than this. It's like a tenth of this speed. So this would be a much quicker light bake. See, that's already 32 seconds left. So I'm gonna light bake this, and then I'm gonna give you a quick tour of this globe. And maybe as you're looking at it on screen here, this is the globe. Welcome to the next scene. So I've always wanted to do a tie back in this ride at some point to the very first scene where it all starts off, telling stories around the fire. And of course, I went from there into more, technological sorts of mediums. I mean, cave painting would be a technology. It doesn't exist naturally. And so I wanted to flow it back to there after all these scenes in a row, all the way up from the cave painting straight through to the print press is all technology. So I wanted to kind of have this kind of a third of the way through the ride breather, and that's this one here, and it's the Globe. And so the Globe, as you may know, is a very famous theater in London. It was built in the 1600s, late 1500s, but early 1600s. And it operated, and a lot of Shakespeare plays were performed here. And it's actually a pretty big facility. In fact, when you ride this in VR, and And again, if you want to write it right now, and if you're a Patreon supporter, you can go look. There's actually a build of this very scene there right now, and it is truly awesome. It's not done yet, right? But it's already awesome. But yeah, you get to come into this facility. And I'll just give you a quick tour over here, just to give you where we're at. You come in, let's see, I'm giving my orientation. Here's the track over here. So this is where the print press, here, actually I'll just turn it on so it's easier for us to all see. I got lots of scenes. For those of you who are Unity devs, you might be like, whoa, how many scenes does he have? Well, I can tell you if I just go over here and check them all off, because they're all in here. It's currently 181 scenes, and that's done specifically to have extreme control over what Unity is loading and unloading and when, so that I don't ever have to have a load scene in this ride. And if you want to see me do a video on that, anytime you watch this video, even if it's like 3, 4, a year from now, if someone posts that they'd like to see it, let me know. I'll definitely like to entertain it at that time, see where I'm at. But I'd be definitely open to sharing how I did this, because it makes something that should not be possible on the Oculus Quest, because even Oculus says they do not recommend loading during the game. They always go to a screen that says loading or something, because it is very choppy. But you can overcome it by implementing something like this and a bunch of other crazy settings in the project settings to make it all work. But like I said, that's like a half hour or more video in itself. So here, just want to give you level set here. This is where we are in the last scene of the ride before you hit that whole pilot digital world, which is going to be more moved later to the climax and then some. I got a lot of things planned for the climax. But you're going to come through here and, oh, before I go out this door, I will probably tell you, for those, I don't know who's even watching right now, I'm going live, there may be nobody, and that would be okay with me. I guess there's 5 of you watching. Hello, and what are the comments we have? You can now pin messages at the top. Okay, somebody's telling me maybe a user or Google is telling me this is new features, but there's 5 people here. Welcome, King Jax and Wood69. Nice name. Yeah, let's go continuing on here. Yeah, before I move forward, one of the things I'm doing in this dark ride very, very sort of deliberately is I'm trying to follow all of the rules of like a real dark ride. So if you were really building this ride, what would your constraints be? I mean, you have physical constraints, and you can't play with gravity, and you can't have super huge spaces because, well, you're in a building somewhere in a theme park. So I'm really trying to adhere to that by and large. But my plan is, as this ride progresses, there will be moments where I will start to play with those rules and challenge them, just for a sort of a mind bleep effect, right? That was hard not to swear. Thanks, Google. Anyways, yeah, so here we are. So you come out this door right now into the digital world. Well, instead, you're gonna come out here into this hallway. And what's really cool about this hallway is, as you look over to the left, you do see right now, it's already running in the demo online. Though I got some tweaking to do on the horse. Doesn't look so super great. But anyways, it gallops, so you can actually hear it. So the 3D effect is really on point. You can really hear it gallop, and it goes underneath where you are. And actually, this is the first time into the Metaverse ride where I've taken you above ground elevation. It's always been along the ground level in every scene. That was deliberate in this first sort of demo, just to kind of ease my way into it. But when I always wanted to do something with elevation, but when I did this first little bit here, and I looked over to the left, and I saw a even more basic city street than this, there's something about that change in elevation that is actually really enjoyable. And I realized how much fun we're gonna have as we develop this ride. What we can do with that perspective. And also scale is also a really interesting thing. So far, there's been big kind of long scenes, but there hasn't been any really super big area yet until this scene, because you come along, so you see that horse going on there. You're gonna come along, you can see this little blue line here on the floor, that is the track. By the way, someone commented, maybe it was in SideQuest or somewhere, that they wished there was a track in the floor. Do other people feel that way as well? Because I could definitely put one in there. It wouldn't be a problem. But I thought it was like cool that you couldn't see the track. Like it's like, you know, all the rage right now are trackless rides, which I'm not a fan of, to be totally honest with you. But I kind of thought it'd be cool enough to have a track. But anyways, if you are listening and you got a comment, actually reply right now in chat and or let me know in the comments and I'll check there at some point after this tour. Anyways, yeah, you're gonna come along here, and one of the animatronics, or the metatronics, as I like to call them, are gonna be standing right here, and it's gonna be an usher, and they're just going to basically, you know, grant you your way in. You know, I haven't figured out exactly what their line's gonna be yet, so maybe something we can talk about in a future video, or maybe you got some input on. But just an usher, basically, you know, maybe tickets, please. Oh, thank you very much. You know, some sort of waiter interaction that you're not actually having with them. So I need to think this through so it feels natural. And sometimes that's the joy of VR. You have an idea, you try, it's like, nope, doesn't work. You know, what you think might work never quite matches what does work in VR. But something like that. It's gonna be a greeter, and it's gonna be like a kind of a formal outfit. I have a character we can show you later on that might work for that. Anyways, they're gonna say that, and then you're gonna come into this room here. Oh, I just see an issue with the ceiling. That's weird. Okay, it's supposed to be pitch black in this room, and the lighting does not seem to be working here. Just looking. It says my lights are on. Yeah, I'm having a hard time understanding what I'm seeing at the moment, because this room you're looking at right now on the screen here, this ceiling should be near black. This floor should be near black, except for a little sun right here at the entrance. So I'm a little bit confused. Oh, yeah, I know what it is. I've had this issue before where, because I've loaded, let me unload this. There we go. Now it's black. There's, I don't know what it is with Unity, but if I have a directional light, which is a type of light in Unity, there's many different types of lights, but that's one of them, is a directional light. If it's in my scene that I use to do the animation, which I'll have to load anyways in a little bit, and it's active when I load it, even if I disable it in that scene and even delete it, and it's still on in the other scenes that were there at that time. It's a glitch of Unity. I should probably log that as a bug, but logging bugs is a lot of work. I've already logged quite a few, but it's a good tool, but it's got a lot of little bugs. Anyways, yeah, so you come through here and this little usher says something to you. You know, come to this room. I like how I have this little middle and upper gallery left, and lower gallery and yard, which were the floors of this really cool building. You're gonna come through. There's a bunch of curtains here. You kind of saw a minute ago that light up with a spotlight. It's really cool. And then you kind of come through, and meanwhile, as you get closer and you go through that dark area, because you're turning in the dark, that's why it's dark. I'm trying to make sure that guests who try this ride, who maybe aren't familiar with VR, haven't spent a lot of time in VR, like your grandma or a child or someone who wants to try it out, let's say, or your grandfather or someone who's just, you know, in bed because they're disabled, who don't have a lot of experience with VR. I wanted to be anybody to be able to sit back and just relax and enjoy this experience, and even if they're a newbie, not get sick. And so one of the things I do, and you could also consider doing if you're building a dark ride, it seems to be working for me, is when you take a bigger turn, either do one or two things. Either one, have something going on that would make the guest focus their attention on it as they make that turn. So a good example of that in the ride to date is what I call the buffalo grandmother. That's the lady, the older woman in the cave, not the lady and the mother and the child doing the hands, but the ones kind of behind them they wave to, painting on the buffalo. She's a good example of that. So take a look at her. By the fact you're looking at her, right? It's a good example of you look to your right, and as you look to your right, you're also turning that way. And because of that, and the other second technique is that when you're turning and you have to make a hard turn, bring the lights down like you just saw when you came into that under those curtains you went through. You can see that you're turning in there just a little bit because of shadows and stuff. You can't really see it on the screen here, but you really can see it in the Quest, especially the Quest 1, it's even better. But you know you're moving, but because it's not all lit up, you don't see it as much, and your level of motion sickness goes way down. But you still get the satisfaction of knowing that you're turning. At least that's been my experience, and so far not a single review said it made anyone sick. I don't know anybody who's tried it yet who has made them sick, so I think I've got it nailed, but we'll see. Anyways, you're gonna come out here in the theater, and this is probably one of my most favorite moments in my ride. In fact, this is my most favorite scene so far in the Into the Metaverse ride, is because you come out here, and I don't twist the seat. I could, but I haven't yet, because it's just kind of cool. And then you come through these curtains and you come out here and you're like this height, and you can look over and you see this scene. Right now there's no one there, but you can hear the audio. I've taken some audio off of YouTube. I've done, I guess you could say, a fair use. I'm still debating if I'm going to use this one, or do I need to contact them. Like, I'm going through, like, because I'm trying to do everything very fair and above board. But you know, fair use is a weird thing, especially when it's used in an educational context, which this really is. I mean, it really is an educational ride above all. Entertainment and educational, but this is going to be that very famous scene, and it's the scene from what's it called now? It's called, you saw the poster back here, As You Like It. So I don't know how many of you in your school growing up had to study Shakespeare. I certainly had to and didn't actually love it, but now as an adult looking back, and actually because of this ride, I've gotten to know As You Like It a little better, because I've modeled this a little bit after that time period in play. And I think what stands out for me in this particular ride is the very famous line, all the world's a stage, right? So I don't know how many of you know all the world's a stage. Actually, let's just go over to my website here. Let me share that with you really quick. I'm gonna turn that on. Oops. Here we go. Yeah, so just on my website here, if you haven't been there, this is what it looks like. Nothing special, but if you go to credits, if you want to know what anything is, including a tool that we're going to be using today. In fact, I was going to quickly take, this is, I know it's my logo on this video, but this is somebody else's store page that I worked with, which we'll talk about, R1 Tools, or Rob Year One. He's the English fella who actually greets you on the ride when you are boarding. He says something to the effect of holding on the Oculus button to recenter yourself. That's Rob Year One. So he's the developer behind the R1 Tools that we collaborated on together, but he's the lead developer on that, the brains behind it. And yeah, we worked on that, and it's a pretty cool tool. So if you want to know who he is or how to get a hold of him, I'm going to go ahead and add that right now to the live stream links. So it's at the very bottom of the page. You'll see it here. Okay, it says R1 Tools. You can go ahead and see that now. Okay, so link down below. Let me go check chat. We've got more people in now. 6 now. Yes, that would be cool. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you, King Jack. Dark rides have always been my favorite. I'm so happy that they're finally in VR. You know, I totally agree with you full-heartedly. You know, I really love dark rides, and I know that there's a ton of others out there who feel the same way. And VR really is truly the most perfect medium. Like, it just is. In fact, it might be better for dark rides than even the real deal, except for the motion. And we're probably gonna have a video at some point about that technology. I mean, some of you may be familiar with the yaw seat, the YAW motion seat. Just Google that if you're curious. I don't have any affiliation with them, but it would be probably pretty cool if my ride utilized something like that, or others that will come along. There'll be I predict a whole market of that kind of technology would come. Just reading more comments here. I gotta move something because I can't quite see everything. I'm gonna move this camera. Okay. Yeah, so King Jacks, you're saying you could turn it off and on in the settings or something. And I mean, my favorite happening, King Jacks. That would be cool. Something, yeah, I agree. Something you could turn off and on. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here, so you don't need to look at that. I'm gonna bring you back to my display. Okay, so you see that again. Let me check. Yep, looking good over there on the other side. Okay, so yeah, so that's the scene. You're coming in here, and I gotta tell you, there's just something truly, seriously magical about this particular scene that caught me off guard. I mean, this whole ride in developing it so far has been a real big surprise for me. It's been full of surprises because almost every scene has been sort of better than I expected. Like, there's just something about VR that you'd be looking at on the screen and be kind of disappointed. Like this particular set, I spent a lot of time trying to find the right assets. And the hardest part was trying to find a globe cinema that wasn't like jank or not to scale. Because I did read online how big this theater is. And when I placed it into Unity, it's the scale. It's 100 feet wide, and I can't remember how many, 50 feet tall I think it is. But it is that. I made sure it was that. So when you go around here on the second floor, this is your view here, if you can see right now. This is what you see, and it's really trippy to have that railing in front of you. It reminds me a little bit of something like the Haunted Mansion. You know, you have that scene that's above the ballroom. You're looking down into that ballroom, the dining table, and they're all dancing, the ghosts and all that, fading in and out. It's like that. It had that kind of moment, but it's not, because it's Shakespeare and it's a totally different vibe. But because the railing is there, but it's different because you're going around in a circle, and your focus is always on that sort of chair area where the main monologue is going to be. And I'm going to pause it here in just a second. It's just so crazy to go around that. What I haven't decided quite yet is if I'm going to go around from basically, you enter, if you can see here on this side of the cinema, that's where we came in. You go all the way around to where we are right now, and you go around. And right now the track exits actually back over here, our stage left. But I do, and that does get in the entire All the World stage, which I don't know if I even mentioned that. I did mention that before, right? I can't remember. But yeah, All the World stage. Yeah, I was gonna pull it up in the browser. In fact, I still want to do that for everybody. That's where it's going to be happening. All the World stage, which is this like famous Shakespeare, and you probably have heard it. All the World's a stage. Just pulling it up here. I'm going to share it with you. Here it is. Okay. I need to add a different display. Boom. Make that a little bigger. I'm not going to read this all to you because I'm not a poet, but we have a sound clip which we'll be hearing tonight. But I thought it was just like so incredibly appropriate to have this in where, you know, all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. They all have their exits and entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts. And I think in particular, immersive technology really sort of echoes, it sort of like it resonates with this in a way that's sort of like almost, and when I reread this in the context, I am putting this in a virtual reality ride, is like, I think I understand where Shakespeare was coming from. He was talking about, you know, that it kind of is, and even in VR, it's just an extension of that play. You know, it's just a different playground. So trippy. Anyways, let me get out of there. I find that kind of stuff fascinating. So that's what you're going to be hearing as you're going around this stage. And a couple other characters at the beginning you'll hear in the background. So while that's happening, as you enter this scene, I've got this sort of typical medieval music. Not the one you heard in the print press, but another one. It's a solo flute. You've definitely heard it. Let me just pull it up so you can have a little listen. I think I called it flute. No, I didn't. I called it's right here, I think. I don't know where I put it, but I can search for it because they're all background music. They're all labeled as background music. There it is. Right, so theater background. Let me just play this. And it's going to play louder, I think, than the other music in the background. If not, I'll fix that. Okay. Everyone is familiar with that. So that's going to be playing as you're doing this loop around this theater here. Okay. And then that flute, and this is the first thing that I want to record with you tonight. Again, if you want to fast forward to when I start to do that, again, this is not your jam, listening to all this ramblings, just look for that, because I'll jump right to it and you can see it in action. But we're going to record that person first. And in my mind, that is someone who's going to be doing the flute. And I was thinking, let's go navigate, I'm thinking up here in this top right-hand corner of the stage, like they're kind of not in the main area where the speech is going to be given, a monologue. Oh, and I should tell you, because of the technology limitations, I can't put a theater filled with people. If you look around this theater, right, like there's rows of seats here all over. I can turn the lights off, you can see a little easier, right? There's rows of seats all over the place here. And so typically this theater would have quite a few people. Hold on a second, how many people? Let me share with you. I don't know. The Globe Theater. How many people did it actually hold? Not the Globe. The Globe Theater capacity. There we go. Let's get the facts. Whoa! I didn't know it was that many. I kind of can see that. It is big. When you're in there in VR looking around, you're like, this could hold a lot of people. I would have thought a few hundred, but apparently 1,500. 700 standing and the rest seated. They have a big standing area in this theater. In particular, if you look, if I go back into the thing here, oops, not through the wall, but here you can see this is the whole theater from above. There's the stage, that's where we loop around here. This whole area, that is the yard. And yeah, that's they would let in, I guess that's where the standing people are. There may be other areas in here I don't see. There are actually rows of seats in the area that we go through, but I took them out because we put the Metamover track there. But there are rows just like you see in these other floors. So really, hey, 1,500 people. I'm kind of calling me impressed. That's 1,500, yeah, and 700 standing. That's really quite fascinating. I would not have guessed. That would be pretty jam-packed, I have to say. 1,500 people. It's a decent-sized theater for sure, but that's a lot of people. Okay, so my thought again was to have that person over here in this side. And then I have so one person there, and then the main monologuer is going to be over here. I don't know if we'll get this all done tonight. Depends on how long the batteries go for. Probably already getting halfway down. I was doing a lot of work today trying to get it all working. Oh, still pretty good. 2/3 there. So that'd be the monologuer. There's another character you hear talking before the monologuer. And so they're going to be here as well. And I'm thinking this should be like maybe someone down here, like a director or some sort. I need to do a little more historical research to find out how. Oh, right. I got sidetracked. Right, because it's a rehearsal. I try to go down the whole path around that I can't animate a room full of 1,500 people. That was my whole point, going down that path. I can't do that. The Oculus Quest, this does not have both 1 and 2. They don't have the processing power to have that. And even if I went PC VR, even there, I mean, 1,500 people, there's tools that can do it. There's an interesting software that can help combine meshes and do all this stuff to help bring down your draw calls and simplify your meshes and whatnot. But for the Oculus Quest, it's really hard to get. I've done a lot of optimizing in this ride, and the most I have on screen at really any one time, you can see it's 7 and really 9 behind the scenes because I'm flipping characters in and out that you can't see. And that's it. That's all they can handle. It cannot go more than that. But in this stage, I don't think I want 9 people because I'm thinking it's a rehearsal. And so it's like, earlier morning, because this ride, maybe you haven't noticed it thus far, but there's actually like an increment in the light. It starts off at pitch black, then kind of a night sky with a moon, so it's a little brighter, and then sort of morning, and then sort of brighter morning as you enter the print press area, the mid area. And then by the time you get to here, to this scene, the sky is, I should turn it off for you. I don't have it set up. So let me just go add that. Oops, environment. So strange that it's missing. So that one is the, what did I call this? I called it theater probably? Theater. Oops. Yeah, there it is. What the heck? That's not it. Oh, you know what? Actually, yeah, what the heck happened to my theater? Okay, I'm not gonna be able to use that one today. Not sure where its wires got crossed, but I think there's a similar one that I can grab for now, just to show you. Sort of the joy of working with Unity. It seems like there's there's this level of, I like to call it sort of digital entropy, where things just sort of deteriorate. Like, it's like almost impossible for it to not. It's weird. You're always fixing something that was working just fine last week. And it's not always the same thing, and it's not everything, but it's always something, it seems like, with development. And maybe developers who do flat screen games have less of that, because certainly VR adds a level on top of all the regular tools, and it's getting better, but it's still a little janky, to be honest with you. So I think it was like this one. No, it was a little cloudier. Yeah, that's close enough. It was something like that. With a little bit, yeah, it was something like this. So yeah, now isn't that crazy how just putting in that sky, because that's how I lit this scene with that sky in mind. Look how much that matches. So weird. It is, you know, I find this thing about, and especially if you were to view this in VR, it's even weirder. It's so strange how we have this preconceived notion of what that sky should do to the surroundings around us. I don't think we're even conscious of it. But when you're in VR and those two don't match, the sky color and the ground color don't match, it really is very like jarring and it feels fake. But when they do match, it's just like this more instantly immersive, which is weird because that means that immersion is partly our expectations. Sort of strange. Okay, I'm gonna go over and check chat. So many windows open, but there it is. Okay. Thumbs up, 2 fingers up. Thanks, Wood69. Okay, so let's get into the first character. So this is probably where I'll do one of those tags to share people. So I have in here a scene that I've already prepped, and I'm going to pull up one of the characters that we're going to be animating here today. And we may only do one today because this is already going to take quite a while. But it's going to be really useful, especially if you are a developer using this same tool, because it is available from R1 Tools. It's not on the asset store, as you can see today. There's some issues around some of the tech that it relies on that hasn't matured yet. Things and tools from Valve that haven't matured yet in particular. And so it's in a state where it kind of, it needs some workarounds to get it all working. Nothing terrible, as you'll see. It's still very usable, but it's not really store ready in the eyes of the developer. And I totally understand why he feels that way. But it is available. So you can contact him via the link that's down below in the description. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on that scene right now. All right, so I'm going to pull you over there and show you it right off the bat. It's out here. This is the one that had that directional light earlier that was so bright. What I'm going to do instead, I'm not a huge fan of directional lights at all. I just feel like, for those of you who understand, by the way, if you can, just make sure you can see this really quickly, double check. Yep. Okay, so for those of you who are maybe not familiar with Unity and are curious, you've got, these are the lights that I was talking about that you can choose. Some of them are real time and some of them can be baked and some of them can be only one or the other. But directional light is supposed to be like the sun, that the rays are always going in the same direction, and it's supposed to cover everything. And to me, it's the one light that I could not use in my ride because it was just so artificial. Everything just looks, everything has this weird coating on it, this strange, waxy, glossy look, and if you see it, you're definitely like, I've seen that in a lot of games. It's very common. It's coats everything. If you see my this over here, I mean, look how it washes everything out. Now, of course, I can turn that down so it doesn't wash it out, right? But it just doesn't have the same level of shadows. Doesn't have the same level of depth. It just makes everything sort of bright, and it goes right through walls, and it is really a strange light. I don't know what it's used for. I see it used a lot, and I guess a lot of people must be okay with it, and I am okay with it too, in fact, in certain games for sure. You know, a game like what was that one called that was kind of like Zelda? Oh goodness. Oh, that's gonna bug me now. Let me go to my library, because it was a really good game, and I probably should give it a little kudos. Oh my goodness. I'm on the Oculus app, and I don't go on it too often to look at my library, because I look at it mostly in my Quest. But honestly, I actually don't know how to get to my library. What on earth? I see. Oh, here. My What? Oculus? Why'd you make that so hard? Oh yeah, so the game is called Journey of the Gods. Very good game, and it uses this directional light that I don't like all over the place, but it does definitely cut down your time for lighting. It this one light covers everything, nice and simple. But for dark rides, it just does not work. So I typically use either a spotlight. So it's basically turned off over here, right? Where's my? There it is. All right, so there's my spotlight up there in the space. I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna bring it over to my character. Just remind me while I quickly navigate this around. Okay, that's about right. Let me turn it up. So I prefer like just a spotlight like this on my character, and it spotlights look so much better. And because it's real time, I won't use a shadow for the Quest. But I do use real-time shadows for the Steam VR version, which, like I mentioned earlier, is on Steam, but you can't download it quite yet. There's an issue with the build we're working through. It won't take too long, I think a few days. But that version has shadows, which does add a little something to the ride, for sure. Not as much as you'd think. The Quest version, I did enough to make it... I worked hard to make it not obvious that the shadows were missing, if that makes sense. So you don't notice it, and you really don't notice it too much. Okay, I'm happy with this light. Something like that, maybe a little bit further back. Okay, so then we're looking in the mirror. That looks good. I can go down maybe a tiny little bit more brightness. Okay, so I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna take that light out. Actually, stick it up here. And it's not a directional light; it's a spotlight. The spotlight. Okay. All right, so I have this character here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to snap into it. So I will link to that. If you just want to see the snap, again, just go ahead and look for the thing below. But let me show those who are interested or here looking right now. Let me show you. Let me show you it. What happened to me here? I'm just looking at my feed. I don't see my face anymore. Let's try that. Turn it on again. Here we go. There we go. Turn that off. Okay. Okay, so I got all my trackers on. You can see up here. One of them actually went to standby. Turn it on. So I have in this setup, I've got, of course, the two Vive wands. I've got 8 of these trackers, and they've all come online. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And they are placed accordingly. I've got, let's see, I got 1 on each elbow. I've got 1 on my chest. I've got 1 on my waist here. I've got 1 on each knee, and I've got 1 on each foot for a total of 8 points. Plus, of course, the 2 controllers, so that's 9 and 10, and the headset itself, which gives me 11 points of tracking, which is pretty optimal here. And what I had to do in this room to get it all working, this is of course, is using the Vive Lighthouse. The Valve Lighthouse technology, and that's of course these little if you can see one just right up there in the ceilings, the little boxes that has the laser sweeper in them. There's actually multiple. They're all over the room. There's actually 4 of them in here. The other one you really can't see is one up here somewhere. They're up there behind me, but there's 4. There's one on the other side of the room you can't even get to. So it's 4 of those. They're all sweeping the room, giving me this this coverage. One second here. I think I just unplugged the camera. There we go. Just bear with me. I'm just fixing the camera. I should get a little longer cable here. So it's a little tight. Okay, let me just restart my camera. Stay with me. Oh, maybe I unplugged it. Just stay with me. Ah, there we go. I think it wasn't plugged in right. There we go. Okay. Let me just readjust it. I guess I can't really move this. It's very sensitive, it looks like. Because I do want to keep it on the floor over here, because I'm going to be staying there in just a moment. I think that's going to be high enough. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So let me show you. Finally, we're at that point where we're going to snap. I'm going to go and snap all 11 of these tracked points to this character. Now, it's not going to snap right, just to get your expectations set here, because I haven't done any adjustments. And I left it that way intentionally because I'd like to show you those adjustments in real time. So you, if you're trying this yourself, you have an idea of how it works as an instructional video. Looks like I gotta leave this camera alone. Apparently it doesn't like me touching it at all. Is that framed up okay? Shoot. How can I fix this cable? Because I need to be able to see better. I think that's okay. Yeah, okay. So what I do here is, I've already got the character all set up. We'll get into this more on how that is done later. But let me just show you the results. Like I said, it's not all dialed in yet. We'll do that right now, actually. It's not all dialed in so that it's tight. And so some of the feet and hands will be kind of twisted and wonky looking. That's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do Unity. I'm going to hit play. Like I said, I've already got it all set up. Okay. Unity sometimes takes a little while. Let's have some water. I'm thirsty. Okay. Oh, you can hear the horses from that scene in the background. I assume you can hear that sound. Okay, so I'm in here right now. You can see it. I'm looking at your screen here. You can see, yeah. So those green things that you see on the screen are the different pucks, either the controllers, the headset itself, or the Vive trackers that I have throughout me. So it looks like they're all operating. It's gonna look at myself, and yeah, I can see my feet, my knees, my waist. I can see my chest, elbows. Yeah, it all looks to be right on point. So I'm going to go over to this character here, and what you really do with this tool is you literally just go up to the character, and you stand in their position, basically, you know, kind of where they are, their body is. So I'm standing where this character's feet are, and I'm going to stand in their body shape, and then roughly put my same pose that they're in, which is the standard T pose. And then all I have to do, and I don't know how much you can see on your side, but there is a button that I look at, and this is one of the things that's holding this tool back from the store, is that you have to do that looking at this thing in order to get to gaze, look at it, basically to do some things, because the OpenXR that we're using in this tool doesn't have full functionality yet from Valve, and one of the things it doesn't have is the Lighthouse trackers being parsed through. So we can't see the trackers. So we have to go to some older technology, OpenVR, and Rob, you're one, feel free to comment below with any details or corrections of all of this. But we have to go down to OpenVR, and it doesn't have full support for everything we want either, so we're doing some of these sort of workarounds or thereabouts. Okay. So yeah, I'm snapped at the character, and you can already see that. I mean, if it wasn't so janky, it would be pretty smooth. And the craziest part is, I don't know how much of you can see of this. Maybe I'll put on the game view for you over here. Oh yeah, you can see in the game view. Yeah, so let me move this out of the way. I can't tell if that's in your way, in your feet or not. But yeah, if you look over here in the, I think it's zoomed in. Hold on a second here. I think I see why. We want 1 to 1. Yeah, it's like super zoomed in. I'm not sure what's going on with this aspect ratio. Let's go to 69. Scale. Here we go. Scale. That's what I want. Okay. Yeah, now you can see in the game view in the top right-hand corner of my mouse is now just wiggling around. One thing you will already maybe notice that as I'm in this character snapping mode, and I still got these adjustments to do, but over there is the Globe Cinema. And so this is the coolest part about this tool, is that we're going to be getting this character dialed in over here, and when we're happy with it and the hands and arms and feet are looking right and I'm animating it just hunky-dory, we'll do a few recording tests over here in the middle of nowhere. We're floating in space, and then we'll take the whole platform, slide it on over into that theater, plop it right down where we want to do this scene, trigger out the audio, and I'll show you all that. It's kind of an interesting process that was very reminiscent, I'm sure, of what actual Imagineers at like Disney and Universal must do. So we'll trigger it all up so we get the right cues, and we'll literally just act it out. And right over in those balconies that I was showing you earlier, we won't, animate it somewhere distant. We'll animate it right in that theater, and I assure you, when I go over there and I snap into place, it's going to be really cool. So let me go and just snap. So we snapped in, get our character, but you can see as I look down at my feet, I don't know how obvious it is on the computer screen, but my feet are totally wonky. My hands are totally wonky. Head and shoulders and waist look kind of all right, but I got to fix that. So I always like to start with my feet. So let me, I wonder if this cord is going to pull. A second here. I'm going to raise my desk. Yeah, it should be all right. I got one of those standing desks. Going down. It looks like for me at least. Okay. Okay, let me check chat really quick before I get into this next area. Oh, did I unplug something? I did. Bear with me here. Unplug my keyboard. It's a problem with the rising up and down desk. Sometimes you have snags. Alright, so I am going to fix those feet. So what I like to do is, because I have a playmat, I stand on the playmat so I'm at the same height, because I've already calibrated the floor. Yeah, looks right. So I'm just going to go ahead and zoom down, and it's kind of hard to see. So what I'm going to do is move that light that we put in earlier. And this is a lot of what I do. So if you're into making dark rides, you're interested, this is kind of what it is like to make. I do a lot of what I'm doing every day. A lot of tweaking, a lot of playing around, a lot of massaging, just trying to get everything just so. I'm going to move this mirror over as well. so I can see myself, which makes it much easier. Okay, so I'm gonna get myself in the relatively right position. We'll do our right foot first. Okay, so I'm gonna click on the right foot here. And over here in the hierarchy, I'm gonna go to this little offset piece. You don't want to ever adjust the foot directly on this parent. You want to do it on the child because it's independent and will save. So later on when you go back and you play it again next time, because you saved this value back, which I will show you how, it makes it much easier. And so I'm going to put it in global. You want to do it globally, not locally, because it'll get all wonk. I mean, your angles are just not parallel to the floor, so it makes it much harder. You're trying to make it parallel to the floor and look like a real foot. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the rotation tool, and you can see that that foot just was twisted outwards in a kind of painfully awkward way, if that was real. Okay, and while it looks okay here on the screen, what you're seeing there, right, looks pretty good. So I'm going to look down and have a look at it physically. And what I like to do is I go off and on. How much you can see this in the camera. Looks like maybe you can. I go off and on until I really get that foot where I want it. It's kind of in the right place there, but it's not in the right spot. It's right angle, but not right spots. Let me just move it around, kind of like right there. A little more of a twist, actually. So trippy, man, seeing that. A little bit more this way. You know, and it's funny, one of the things I used to make, when I used to do this with characters, I would get a little lazy and like, oh, it's close enough. You know, it's like maybe not quite perfect. But really, it's weird that if a character's foot's not more or less perfect, you do notice it. It's like built into our brain to instantly notice something's a little off with that person's, you know, gait or stride. It's weird how sensitive we are to that kind of stuff. At least that's been my experience in VR. Okay, so I'm happy with that right foot. Let's look again. Yeah, it looks to be in where I would expect it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and save that. And I have a tool, it's called, well, it appears here, as you can see, save play mode changes. You won't have this unless you have this particular asset. I'm gonna actually, because I think it's an important tool, I'm not an affiliate. Maybe there's an affiliate program in Unity, I don't even know. But I'm gonna go to the asset store. I'll share the screen in a second. Let me just find it in my list of downloads. Just gotta sign in here. It's a great tool. So if you're, if you want to make a VR ride, I would say this is an essential tool because it has saved me in just so much time being able to save things while in play mode. And I don't know if you know this, but when you're in Unity and you're in play mode and you make adjustments, like I just moved that camera and that mirror you saw me do, and then the character's foot, if I just hit stop playing right now, all those settings are gone and it goes back to where it was before you hit play. So with that tool, you could just really go and copy the parameter, like Control C on the parameter, and then paste it after you hit stop playing. That's a way of doing it too. But when you do lots of changes throughout a play session, you can't copy and paste all of that. It gets really cumbersome. So just being able to right click and say save, save is just wonderful. So let me pull up that tool, save, what was it called? Auto save, okay. Here it is, let me share my screen. Where's the, here we go, 4K display. Yeah, so right here, I'll stick that right now in the video description for any of you who are watching and feel this would be a handy tool for you as well. How much is it? It's $5. One of the better things I've actually bought. Oh, by the way, the music in the background you're listening to today is brought to you by royalty-free music, no copyright music. So I always have a little something on in the background, I find, when I'm talking, and no one's complaining that's too loud. It seemed like it was fine. Anyways, back to where I was. Play mode. I'm gonna add this to the description. Just bear with me. Where are we? So play mode, save. Because it really bugs me that when someone says it's down below in the description and then you go and look and it's not there. Just trying to find the right place to put it. There's R1 tools. Let's put it here. So this is the auto save. Okay. There it is. Okay, let's go back to Unity. Okay, so let's do our left foot. Same deal as the right foot. Gonna go in. I'm gonna adjust it. Oh, that's the wrong parameter. I just adjusted. Let's do that again. Left foot. Remember, I have to go in. You have to choose the offset. Okay. So I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna wrap that around. So we'll look. See here. Oh, I like this music. Is this song already in public domain already? Yeah, I misread that channel, but this song I thought was still copyright. I used to love this track back in the day at raves and stuff. Okay, I'm looking down at my feet, and those look. I mean, it's so funny. Looking down, I got spiky toes. I mean, the boots you see here, right here, look like they're my boots right now. I love that about VR. It's so trippy. Okay, yeah, so I'm happy with that. That looks good. So let me save those also changes. Okay. Okay, so my feet are now correct. In fact, I'm gonna look in the mirror here at myself. Can you see this? You should be. Yeah, you can see the mirror there on the top. But why can't you see very well though? What's going on here? I want you to be able to see what I'm seeing. Oh, I guess you can. I just think I could maybe utilize my real estate a little better for streaming. You know, to give you all a little better see. Make this a little bigger for now, maybe. Yeah, let's see how that looks. Hopefully that's a little better for you. But yeah, here I am in the mirror. Let's go back. Okay, so yeah, that looks. I mean, look at that already. Okay, so the hands are next. I promise you, once the hands are in, this is looking pretty good already. Doo doo doo. This character is great. I love this character. Okay, so hands. So let's go over and have a look. See what's going on there. Let's have a look at them first. Maybe they see a different hand profile. That might be what it is. I'm going to exit here and then... Actually, maybe I could actually edit this in real time. I don't remember now. Yeah, I think I can. I'll explain this in a moment. Now they seem to be working. Okay, it might just be that it's twisted. So with this tool... there's different ways that people seem to be able to place the rigging inside of hands. I don't really know why there's so much variation in just about all the 3D world. I guess there's not a lot of solid standards, just like in 2D, I guess, with PNG and JPEG and other photo formats. So the developer, Robbie1, made these 3 presets to kind of accommodate different bone structures and different ways that they have their blend shapes and whatnot. And usually one of the 3 works. In this case, just looking at it's kind of hard to tell on the screen here where you see the left controller. It's kind of hard to see. But in VR, it's like, yeah, I think there's just something wrong with the hands in this character entirely, and at least on that hand. Let's have a look at it's a weird hand to begin with. That might be why he's having a difficult time with it. Let's look at the other hand. Yeah, this looks more like a normal hand. I don't know how well you can see that, but definitely it's kind of messed up when you close your palm. It looks like it's supposed to be going that way. So I can untwist it. That would be easy. So let's just do that first. So that would be under here, under the under the camera offset. And we're looking at, what was it here? The right controller, and we're looking for the same thing, the right controller offset. Okay. We're gonna go and, which way to how to twist that again? I gotta twist it. Okay, it looks like it's this way. Kind of hard to see. I'm just gonna put it down. I'm gonna orientate myself the same way that I'm looking at it in VR, like from my head, because it kind of twisted. You get kind of turned around. Okay, so I gotta twist it this way. Okay, so That would be this blue, most likely. Let's see if I can see this. Here we go. No. Well, I am not really entirely sure what is the deal. Let's try different presets. This is sort of the challenge with all these characters, is that you do run into these issues where sometimes for reasons I can't even really explain, there's just something a little bit wonky about their bones, their rigging. I have lots of tricks that we can go through, whether we do them all tonight or this is a multi-part series, we'll see. But I got a bunch of tricks that I've learned over the last year and a half on how to repair. In some cases, I've been able to repair a decent percent of models that I can't use for this tool. And this might be one of them, we'll see. But let me just, before we give up on this character, let me just I have other ones we can go and try. But let me just have a look here. Anything else I can do for this offset? Let me try on this hand. I tried it on the other hand. Let me try the different presets in the hand at least. See if we can get that looking better. Nope. I don't know how you can see this, but I'm gonna put my hand in my face, yeah. And just look at it, okay? I'm gonna squeeze. Is that creepy? I don't know what it looks like on the screen as much, but in VR, it's like, wow, that person's hand just went like super weird. 3. Let's try 3 preset. Oh, no, same kind of thing. Okay, so this character, probably for another video, I will do that experimentation, but that's okay. We have got other characters, and that will actually give me an opportunity to show you how to actually rig a character with this tool. And so that's probably another one of those time markers I'll put in the file. Let me go and collapse all this. Okay, I'm gonna go down to the same tool. I have that tool we just animated, but I have more of them. Let me see, what do I have here? And these are maybe not all the final characters that will be in this scene. I'm still looking for a character and or modeling a character and or hiring an artist to model a character is definitely a video in of itself. Again, if you're out there and you like to know how at least I do it, my process, go ahead and leave a mark in the comments or join the Discord and come talk to me over there, and I'd be happy to maybe do a video on it at some point. Can't promise, but if people ask, I'd probably be compelled. I like to share. I don't want to share needlessly as well, because if no one cares, then yeah. So let's say this Knight. Yeah, this is actually the character I thought could be doing the speech and or the flute or some role in that theater. And again, once I've animated, because most of the bones are the same, I often can actually swap a different character in there, provided I'm not interacting and picking things up in the environment, which will probably, this tool can do that. I can animate stuff and literally walk over and pick up a cup or something, anything, and it will be part of the animation now, and put it down, and later on when you play that animation clip back, that cup goes with it. It's really crazy, it's amazing. That'll probably be another video, but it does do that. And but let's take this character, he's a knight. Let me drop him into the scene. I'm gonna always animate him. I'm not gonna apply the root motion. You don't need or want root motion for this animation tool, because if your character is going to walk across the room, you are going to animate it by walking across the room. You're not gonna have this like repeat, animation of this 2 footsteps repeat over and over again and have it glide across the room. It doesn't work that way. You probably could make something like that, but it's so liberating just to be able to walk. And I have a small space here, and it would be my hope that one day Metaverse Adventures takes off and have a bigger space where I can do a little more acting, because it's so much fun doing this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and add the components to this character, and so I definitely need the humanoid baker. This is why it's gonna actually bake the action that we're gonna record out. And you wanna do that in real time. And you want to make sure that you click off these 3 bacon to pose every time. Go ahead and give it a clip name. This is going to be the flutist, I'm going to call it. That's probably going to be the role, at least of this animation that we're doing. And I got a place to put it. You put it where it makes sense for you. But I have a deep folder structure, you know, even though I search the most, but I like to have it organized. I put this one up here under animations and then under R1 animations. Okay. So that's that component added. That's all you gotta do there. It's pretty straightforward. And then I'm gonna bring up my VR IK, which is a final IK tool. That's one of the things you do need to purchase in order to use this tool. There's 2 other tools you have to purchase. This was that one, final IK, and HPTK, hand poser tool, which we'll get into when we do the whole grabbing objects in the scene. Not only do you grab stuff, but it actually will form around, it will like form around the object in a realistic way, which is really cool. In fact, the game Seek Me that I'm working on, it actually also has that same technology where your hands will wrap around the objects in a very realistic way. It's really awesome. Makes it more enjoyable, more like interactive VR. Okay, so I've added in those 2 components. I'm just gonna, I haven't done a lot of these in the last few months. I'm just gonna quickly do a comparison with my reference. VRK, yeah, set up. Humanoid. Oh, and I need my animation animator on it. So I need to create one here. I guess I need to create it over here. I'm gonna do a create animator controller. That's right. We'll call this no, flutist. We called it flutist. In fact, I'll probably even rename this knight to that for now, flutist, because that's what it is to me, and will be their role maybe through this ride. But if I change it, then at least I have both captured here. And then I can search for it. I like searching for things, like I said earlier. So let me grab that controller I just did. Boom, oops. Drag that in. There we go. So we should have all the bits we need. Let's just go and see where this, it should have landed right in the right spot. It did. Right, I remember for some reason that this whole thing was twisted. It is. Who's twisted? You're twisted. You're twisted. You're twisted. By that I'm meaning this minus 67 here. That should be 0. And I think they all are the same, except for that one. Okay, so I'm gonna put them all to 0. Now that's right. Now it faces the right way. Oh, but now my light's the wrong way. Okay, give me a second. Oh, where'd it go? It's over here somewhere. Something like that. Okay. There we go. All right. Oh, he's a big person. How big is he? I have a little tool that I use. I like to make sure everything in my ride is to scale, or if it's not to scale, it's deliberate. And the way I do that is 2 ways. One, by going into VR, very important, because until you're in VR looking at it face to face, you just never know. Secondly, I use this little red rod that I made that is my height. It's 170 some centimeters, 170 exactly, a little shorter than me, I guess, or 172 centimeters, but it's 170 centimeters. And so I will hold it up to get a reference of things. And you can see that this is a fairly big person. Now, that's not a problem. I can certainly snap into this character, and it will actually snap to my size, and it actually saves that size that it snaps to. So when it does snap to you, you know, it will take this scale up here, which right now is 111 across the board, and it might be like, I don't know, 0.99 or 0.95 or 0.8 for me or something, right? And whatever that is, because it will snap, it will actually store it in a folder. Let me just show you where that is. It's gonna go ahead and hold down there. I use an Apple keyboard on the Windows machine, so I don't actually know what key that is. I guess it's the Option key. Maybe it's certainly it's not the Windows key. Maybe it's the Alt key you press. I press the Option key in my keyboard. But if you do that and hold down this, click this arrow, it will minimize everything in that tree. So nice. But when you're over in the hierarchy, in order to minimize and collapse it all, you have to right click and say collapse all. And over here, there is no such right click and collapse all. Instead, it's this hold down the Option key and click that arrow. Unity is so weird that way. I mean, it's almost like the left hand wasn't talking to the right hand or something when they made these two almost identical columns behave so differently. Even how they're sorted is differently. Just little things like that about Unity that I just I don't understand how that could even be. I almost like there's no one there use it. It's such a glaringly obvious, easy thing to make consistent between two almost identical windows. But I was going in to show you that size of the characters. So yeah, under the R1 tools right here, provided you put it in the same place as right down here you'll see this file called Character Scale, and in there it will tell you, and they're usually all the same. It does it evenly, scales it evenly across all the axes. But yeah, I just take one of these numbers like so, and I want to do it right now because this is for the last character we snapped in. It always overwrites this, so every time you snap, this file gets overwritten. But then later on, and hopefully we get a chance tonight or maybe in tomorrow's session, I hope that we can and then do a recording. And if I want to maintain that height that's snapped to my size, I can apply this figure or leave it any size you want. The animation will actually scale with the character, so you can make him bigger or really small. And so, you know, the girl you see in the ride at the very beginning, she's maybe like 4 feet tall, you know, like, what is that, like 1.8 meters or something? Yeah, I recorded that. That was me, but then I just shrunk it all down. And the girl doing the hand painting. In fact, every character. There was 1 or 2 in there before that were like can animations just walking across the room. It looks so digital and artificial compared to all the rest of them that I got rid of it. So yeah, you would take that value, you would copy it out, you would go and find the character that you just recorded, and you would just simply apply it, and then it would be the same size as what you recorded. So that's the tip for you there. I'm gonna go ahead now and see if I can snap into this character. Oh, and maybe I should go check chat. Man, you have been doing a lot of work. Yes, Wood69. It is. You know, one of the things when I started this project is I really thought that it would be easier than a complicated game, and maybe it is. But I'm making a game now, and I'm realizing that in many ways this is actually much harder because of the demands that Darkride places technologically on the Quest. It really pushes it. I could have done it lower end graphics for sure, but it would have been just killer. Oh, I think I'm not sure what's up with the character. He's looking weird there. I think this might be his default pose. This does happen sometimes with some characters. I can fix it if it is. There we go. Okay. This could be our flutist. I don't know. Or the guy doing the speech. I'm kind of feeling like the guy doing the speech. We'll show that video in a second. It looks like I need to render. I don't know if you can see this or not. Yeah, right? Yeah. Between my legs here, you can see right through them. And that's because I need to go ahead and turn on rendering both sides of this object, which I will go do because I'll probably forget if I don't. So right here, under the material, you want to do both. We'll go and check that in a second to make sure it worked. And I'm going to just go and, right, this one I think you don't have to do the save during play because materials don't save the same way that the parameters do. So that's already saved. But we'll double check. Both, okay? So now when we go look at our character, right, we don't see through the legs anymore or through that material in the back. That looks better. Okay, so just looking down, my feet look, actually, so you may notice every time I look up, the little countdown thing there, the look here to calibrate comes up. So to turn that off, you just got to go ahead here and slap this. Oh, it's not working. I got to fix that too. There's I need to put a layer trigger or tag on this hand. But there's a button here, which we'll get working in a moment, called Toggle Tools, and it will turn that off so it doesn't keep on triggering. But just looking at it, it looks like it's pretty good. My left hand, I'm looking at it now, it looks right. It's closing right. They're a little clunky and big, but don't think it'll matter too much for this particular character. But the right hand definitely needs to be twisted in a little bit. I'm looking at my feet. They're pretty good. Oh, it's so weird looking at the metal. I've always wanted to wear a acid armor like this. It's so neat looking how it bends. That is actually really well done. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the feet as they are. I don't think I need to... I mean, I could maybe adjust the foot a tiny bit, my left foot. But I'm pretty happy with it. So, doing our speech. We'll try it. You know, it's one of those things that you really just got to try. I might put this character in, do a test recording, go sit in the Metamover and ride the ride. And sometimes... it's like immediately what you thought looked great on the screen just turns out to just not be. It's really strange how pronounced it is. So what did I need? Was my right, left hand? Let me go pull the light over so we can see it a bit better. I should really just make that bigger and then I don't have to worry about it. Okay. And the mirror, I'm just gonna move that over for now. It's easier for me to see. Oh, I did that wrong. I need the whole plane. There we go. Okay, yeah, so it was definitely my right hand. So let's go fix that really quick. That would be under here, under right controller, and the offset again, remember? And we're gonna do a rotation on it. Let's have a look at it quickly. It'd be easier if there was almost like someone here to help me with these particular parts. One day you'll be able to do this all without having to go to your keyboard. It really does slow you down naturally. Okay, this is getting there. Okay, so what do we have to do? We need to bring it in. So bring it in and bring it around. Okay. That's feeling a bit better. Okay, it needs to be just down a bit. Okay, that's looking good. Still needs to go down a bit more, like so. Yeah, it's looking a bit better. Let's compare. Yeah. I feel like really, this dude's really burly. His fingers and hands are really big. Hands are still a little wonky. You see how the fingers are kind of odd shape. I might be able to fix that. I don't know if it matters for this particular character, because I'm not getting super close to them, or you won't be in the Metamover. Ones that are closer to you as you go by, I put more effort in, because little imperfections become more obvious. But at the resolution of the Quest 1 and 2, you just don't see it. Maybe when the Quest Pro comes out, I'll be gasping and having to go back and fix them all. It's possible. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to where I was and save that. It was right into here. Oops. Okay, let me go up to the mirror and actually put the mirror back where it was. Okay. Dance. Yeah, working good. Hands are looking. This right one still could be twisted out actually. Let's fix that. That looks a little skewed. Looks like let's go grab that again. And yeah, you can, by the way, with this tool, you can cancel what you were saving and then resave it again. So I'm just gonna, what do I need to do with this? I need to bring it out again. And still a little too much. Oh, what happened to my... Okay, it's getting close. Just a little bit more down. Oh, that's weird. There we go. That's even better. So let's see. I mean, it's so awesome, right? I love animating in this thing. Okay, so that looks good and tight. Let's save that. Okay, so I think I just double check. I didn't have to do the feet. Okay. All right, I'm gonna grab a quick another water here. Oh, get a little warm in here too. Okay, so we snapped into the character. We've set that character up. And of course, the intent of this video isn't to show you how to install R1 tools. If you end up going down that path with Rob Year 1, I got some instructions that I've written and polished a bunch of times now over the last year that I would be happy to share, or maybe Rob will on my behalf. Or you can just drop me a line if you have any questions, but the setup's really easy, pretty straightforward. A couple caveats on versions of certain components that you have to be delicate about. But other than that, as you saw though, my character was unable to press that button. That was because of the physics layer in here. So let me go and have a look-see. What is going on? What am I missing? It's been months since I've done an animation. It was like 4 or 5 months of optimizing for Quest Store and preparing it for the Steam Store. That's a story in of itself, let me tell you. So what layer? I think, if I'm recalling now, I have to make this character at least audio animatronic. I think it was that. What are the buttons again? Right, transparent FX. So animatronic 1 has to be able to touch transparent FX. Here, so transparent FX, audio animatronic 2, transparent FX. Yeah, it's checked off. So, and then 2, 1, 3 isn't, so we'll check that off. And 1 wasn't, so that's probably why it wasn't working. So let's go and check that out again. Because in order for me able to record this animation now, once we move it into the right place, and equip myself with a flute, which we'll have to go get, which shouldn't take too long, I hope. We'll see. We have these buttons at our disposal. So ones that you see here from left to right is start recording over here. We've got stop recording, which does exactly as you would expect. Looks like the floating things are skew F. That's probably me. Those should be moved over, these two signs. Increase your character's leg height, or I guess character overall height, or decrease it. If sometimes when you snap in, it's just like your little contorted, you'll see this sometimes. Sometimes stretching yourself up or down. can make it fit, the bones fit a little nicer. And same with the arms. Sometimes your arms just look a little weird and too short or too long, so you can adjust the length of those, which is really cool. And again, how you operate all these buttons for now is just by literally waving your hand through the box. There's a trigger in there, which is like what I just fixed. You can toggle this whole mirror you see in front of you off and on, which is nice. And you can toggle the tools off and on, which makes most of these buttons disappear, with the exception of stop and record, because of course you sort of need those. And then redo snapping is just a reset, so you can go back out and do your pose and such. I don't really ever use that one. I just re-snap. Whew. Okay, so let's try that again. I'm digging the music on this channel, on this CC0 channel. CC0, public domain, that means. I hope you can hear me good when I'm over there. I did hook up both the index microphone, and on the desk here I have a Yeti. So I'm hoping they're both giving me loud and clear and not too much echo. Well, after this particular first run, I'll go back, I'll watch it, like I said, I'll add the timelines and chapters, and I'll also make adjustments for next time. If there's interest in these kind of videos. I don't know if there even is, but hopefully someone finds this useful. Alright, snapped in. Not super happy with my right hand, but I'm going to live with it for now, because it may not matter, because ultimately we're going to be the, you know, the fluter, you know, some sort of like do kind of emotion going on. So I just want to try the recording. Oh, I don't know if I actually set the recording up. Oh yeah, I did. I called it flutist. Let me go double check. Or else I'll get a big error. VRK and the baker. Yeah, flutist. So that recording should work. So if I'm happy with this, oh, let's see if this works actually too now. No. Okay, so I gotta fix. I still don't have it toggling. Looks like nothing more working. Can I pick things up? Yeah, I'm missing a physics layer. Let me go figure out what I'm missing. Just bear with me. You'll have this problem too, so it's probably worth your time watching this. From time to time, you'll just miss a little something. It's what I like to do, and I recommend you do as well, is just go to the sample scene that was provided in the toolkit and go ahead and compare your character to it. And one of the ones I like to compare it to is, what was it here? It was the Nightshade character. I'll turn them on so you can see who they are. Turn off my one for a sec. So this character, I guess they're twisted too. Let me fix them. Okay, so this character, Nightshade. So they were untagged on this layer. Let's look at the character itself. I don't think there's anything in here, but there could be a little something, if I recall now, at the end of the hands for this trigger. So maybe that's what's missing. Let me go have a look. So I remember that. No tag there. Okay, now you're getting into the individual fingers, and no tags, didn't think. Okay, so any tags, any layers on any of this? No, does not look that way. Yep. So it does look like it's going to be out over on the XR rig, probably on your controller itself. And it's untagged here. It has that sphere collider, which is needed. You need that collider. Untagged. Is there something out of here? Right hand, untagged. Okay, maybe this character doesn't actually record either. If it doesn't record either, I'll load up another test scene. Surely one of them will work. I may have accidentally edited this one. trying to play. I don't know what it's doing. Sometimes it does this. Busy. All right. That took a very long time. And it sort of snapped me somehow, but I'll snap it again. There we go. Okay, so that's working. Let's see if our buttons work with this character. No. So something wrong with these physics layer. I just don't remember what it is now, so no worries. I will just go and load up. I'll save this scene. I will unload it. And I will go and load one of Rob's other ones, like the I guess sort of, I copied that one before. I'm just trying to think aloud here. Not the posing setup, that's for the hand. There's a great tool to make the default pose, so when you just like let go of the controller, you're not grasping anything, is the hand like this, which you'll see some of my characters work because I didn't use that tool until later in the ride. Or you can make it more naturally like this, so you're not, when you let go of the controller, like a natural sort of curve versus this really artificial straight. That's the posing tool, which is probably another video again in itself, so go ahead and comment below if you'd like to see that tool detailed. But Rob does provide a pretty good overview of how to use it in his own little mini video. I'm gonna go ahead and load. I don't know now. I might have to go reload his tools to see which one I want. Okay, looks like it did come with what we're looking for, Nightshade. Let's go look at this character. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and snap into it then. It doesn't have a baker on it, but that's okay because we're not going to bake right now. We're just going to test. Okay, here we go. Here it comes. Right? It's taking a long time to start suddenly. Hey, Unity does do this from time to time. More often than not. I don't know what is actually really what it's doing. I did a profiler on it once before, and it just was getting stuck on the most mundane things, and you probably have to know the engine to know why that would be more intimately than I. Okay, the character's a little skew. This one hasn't been obviously set properly yet, but I just want to see if the tools work. No. Okay. So I would say it's probably more something in my physics layer. If both test scenes aren't working, and I know they did work when I first took receipt of them, and I probably have done something in my project. So, let's remove that scene. We'll load back the original scene. Okay, and let me go look at my physics one more time, because I'm certain it's in here. That's the shadows, fire log, infrared light, loading some, middle 80s, no, animatronic. Shadows, no, typeface, fire scene. Huh. Let's see it, one of the tools I bought gave me a layer. I'll have to get rid of that. I don't use that tool anymore. Or reuse that. I'm running out of layers. Animatronic 1 is definitely checked off for transparent effects. Transparent effects. Let's look at this character one more time. I may be missing something here. How come? What I'm not really sure about is I would have to recall, as I'm recalling it wrong, that there's something to do with the layers or the tags. I'm pretty sure it was the layers though. You know what? I'm gonna go and actually just put a animatronic. Actually, The other character already would be, because I did do that with the knight. I thought I renamed the knight. Didn't I rename it to, well, right, but we're changing it. That would be knight. Knight J is the one that comes with it. Bear with me here. I'm having a brain fart. Didn't I rename this character to... Yeah, I did. Didn't I rename this character to Flutist? I'm sure I did. Let's go back and watch the... I mean, I will be able to go back and look, but I'm sure I already did that. So maybe it just didn't take. I didn't hit enter properly or something. All right, so yeah, see, this is already animatronic 1. Is it something to do with the... Someone's probably watching right now saying, it is yelling at me, it's this to the screen. It's this, just do this. Hey, if you're out there and you're doing that, and hopefully you're real time with me, not watching this sometime in the future, feel free to tell me in the comments, because I'm a little stumped here why I can't get this working. No comments. One viewer. Probably me viewing right now, to be honest with you. This is not a video for the masses, that is for sure. But some of you are going to really love this tool, especially if you're animating. You're going to be asking me where you get it. And then, once you get it, you'll be back here watching how to do it, because it is so amazing. What else can I do here? Let's go continue on my last thought process. I'm thinking maybe I would... I should go back to an older one of my projects and have a look that I know that worked to see what's different. That's probably going to be the only way I can do this. But before I give up, I'm just going to go and switch this right now. I'm just going to switch one of these layers on the right hand to a physics layer, a layer that I know interacts with the transparent FX. These buttons. It's just my chest is not bounded properly. That's Steam's telling me that my chest tracker isn't bound somewhere. So I'll have to go look at that. So maybe this isn't being tracked right now. Which I have found, actually, this one doesn't make as much of a difference. You can get away with it more than I would have thought. Maybe 2 shoulders would be better. Again, such a weird default position. I don't know why he does this. Maybe it was hung on the cross when he was cast. Okay, so will it work now? No. Okay. Okay, bear with me here. Let me go and go to an older project that I have, and when it was working, I like to do that. And then I can have a quick see of what I'm doing wrong. I think it will be in this one. It may not be in that one. I can go check while it's loading. Because I can see if it has an R1 tools folder, which it does. So it should have the working tool in that particular version. It's a slightly older version of Unity too from earlier this year. So we'll let that come up. You can't see it. It's quarter of the way loading. So yeah, we'll get that one loaded up. I will test the tool over there, make sure I can press that button, and if I can, then I will go and inspect that character and its XR rig to see what's going on with them, to see why, and the layers, the physics layers in particular, to see what's going on. Animatronic 1. And it's only unchecked the culling layer, which is nothing to do with this tool, and XR rig, rigger controller. Oh! You know what? I actually remember I made a change, I think, to Rob's default package because I was having some conflicts. That's right, I was having some conflicts with things like the meta mover would be going through the scene, and if I happened to go past and through any of those buttons that you see there, it would trigger them. And I remember one time I was just like pulling if I had hair. I have no hair, but if I had hair, I was pulling it out because I could not figure out for the life of me why I kept on like re-triggering the audio or something like that. I'm like, why is it restarting again? I don't have like, it took me like a while to figure it out, and I realized it was the meta mover hitting the button. So then I implemented a different layer entirely so there wouldn't be any, it was more clear, and I called it the XR Rig Trigger Controller. And so I have to make sure it's on all of the animatronic layers. I do call them animatronic in here, I guess. I should call them Metatronic, just to be kosher. Maybe I'll do that. Metatronic. That's right, animatronic. So animatronic 1, 2. So yeah, I guess they're all done. And 1. Okay, I'm having a hard time to see 1 or 3. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that might actually do it. But I think if I'm now recalling, I need to go back to that flutist. Yeah, and they're animatronic 1. So that should do it all the way down. And I need to also make sure that that also does the transparent FX. It does. Something's not right though here. Does this one have to be the XR? Yes, I think it does. Trigger collider, yes. Okay. Hopefully that helps somebody to watch it. If this solves it, if not, well then at least you know what to do. The joys of YouTube. What to do the via tracker on chest. Yes. You can go ahead and create that binding. That's fine. Okay. Yes. Save. Mac. Such awful interface. Steam really, I feel like needs to update their entire interface. It's really dated, I feel. Especially the store side. I was telling you earlier. That's a story in itself. Wow, that thing is very dated and cumbersome to use. Okay. Do the button work? Let's find out. Yay! Hey! All right, so now you know how to fix that. You don't have to use the XR, what do they call it? The XR Rig Trigger Collider. You saw what I did. I put the Trigger Collider on the XR Rig and made sure that whatever character you're animating, that it collides in this little matrix that you see here on the screen. Make sure it collides with those layers. In my case, they're animatronic. You can call your layers whatever you want, but they have to intersect. Okay, I should probably get rid of my bar here after. So we got that in place. We can toggle the tools, get them out of here. We can toggle the mirror if we want, but we're gonna leave it in there for now. I'll get rid of these grabbables. They should work now too. No, they're gonna be set up as well, but we're not using them right now. These are just 4 examples of things that later you can take any object in this world with this tool, and as you're doing your animation and it's recording, you could grab that gun and take it around and put it down, and that action would be played back when you play like the character moving. It's really cool, but we're not using those today. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to start recording. Okay, it flashed, so I think we're recording. I'll just do some action, do some exercises here. Oh yeah. What? I got this big scar on my face. Whoops, I pressed the button. Toggle that off. Okay, and then we'll go and stop it. Looks like it might have worked. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. And I called this flutist. I called the file flutist. How convenient. Flutist, where is it? I don't think it recorded. Oh, this might be the wrong directory. Those are recordings, but they're not the ones we're looking for. Yeah, look for this one. There it is, flutist. Okay, well that's really good. So, to test that all worked, all you have to do, and the easiest thing to do, is just take the character that you just did the animation with, duplicate it. So now you got 2 of them. You can see down here. I'm going to turn off the original one that has all the bits in it to do the recording. I'm going to go to the new one. I'm going to remove the VRIK because this is the character is only the playback now to see how it recorded. So we don't need those two components. The VRIK, I'm a humanoid baker, out of there. And it looks like we already have a character control that we added earlier, as you remember seeing. I'm going to go ahead and drag in that flutist animation. Boom, right there. Now, when I press play, we should see what we just watched me record, if all worked well. I would say that these are more the dev portions, and this job is Imagineering, it is. And it is good chunk engineering, which is really programming and computer graphics related. And the other half really is artistic and narration, and flow, and those more intangible type skills. It really is both. I've really come to respect the profession of Imagineer, especially if you're working on real rides with physical limitations, because I could do a whole scene and then go and ride it and just not like something. I don't like that. Oh, there it is. See, it's working. Doesn't that look great? By the way, the animations are even better than they were in the original ride. I found some things that to optimize it with the bones. And it looks like he's a little stiff in the back, so I'll probably adjust that still. But that's great. I am so happy with that. So I'm going to take it one more step as a tease because it's already been streaming for at least over an hour or so. And I wanted to go longer, but I think I'm going to cut it off there today in just a few minutes and do more tomorrow. How long is this video now? We are up to... looks like 2 hours already. I thought it was going to be a while. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give you a tease of what we'll do in the next video if you want to see this continue on. And that really is taking this character, we just tested it out, we know we can record. I might do a little more playing around to get that motion to look a little more realistic. Let's look at it one more time. It looked like it may have been a little stiff up the backside, so maybe I got to adjust my waist or my chest. Well, it said it wasn't tracking that, so maybe I got to turn that on. So I'll play around with that in the next video. It's taking a heck of a long time to play. I only have, I think 3 scenes, no more than that, like maybe a dozen scenes loaded. I'll play around with this before our next video to see if I can improve it. I don't know why. Could be because I'm streaming. But let's see what the CPU is doing, GPU. I mean, you can't see it, but 23% CPU and 45% memory. It's not too much. That looks really good. Hey, that looks really good for home use. Just using lighthouse trackers. It's pretty good. Yeah, I think I could probably do a little more adjustment in the back, but it's pretty darn good. So, what we're gonna do tomorrow is, and I'll just take it there right now so to give you a tease. We're gonna take this whole rig, as is. Okay, I'm gonna zoom way out. I don't need the audio cues. I will explain those later, what they are. I'm gonna drag this into the theater. Okay, and we want this whole rig upstairs on the 2nd floor. So I'm just gonna bring it around, bring it in. Sort of like right, not through the fence, but right there. And feet on the floor. Looks like his feet is in the floor, no problem. We'll just raise her up. Looks like, and it should go blue when it comes, the floor comes through. So there we go. And I like to turn off the floor at this point. I don't need to see it. I kind of want to be more in character in here. Where did I put that again? All right, under general, I think. Yes, it is under general. I should really move that to a more better spot. I use it all the time. I always turn the floor off and on. And actually, it kind of looks like the whole thing could be twisted around. I think about that one a little bit more. Okay, something like there. Okay, so when you come in the ride, you kind of bust in over here to look, see. You will see that guy up there playing the flute. And here's the coolest part of all of this, and I'll just hit play again. I think this is one of the cool parts. This and the grabbing of objects during the scene is so next level. But not only does it really animate very smoothly, especially now it's even better than all the characters you see in the ride. This new technique, and we'll go back and re-record all other 57 of them. It's going to take me weeks. Not weeks, a couple weeks to do a good job. But I'm getting faster and better at it, so we'll see. Maybe by the time I get to the end of the ride, I can go back and finish those other ones much quicker. But everything takes a long time. Oh, that's the wrong character. That looked good there, though, hey? That looks fantastic. It's not going to do that, of course. No, what I have to do is just go ahead and turn off that. I'm going to call this the flutist playback so we know which one it was. And we're going to turn off him, and we'll turn back on the one with all the guts in it again, right? The VRIK, the humanoid baker, the pieces to actually do the recording. Because you can see my game window there, right? Should switch over when it plays. If not, I'll click it. Oop. I've already got a crack in my controller. I don't know if you can see that. Right in there. Dropped it. I've actually broken all my controllers except the Oculus Quest 2 so far. But that might be because most of my use in the Quest 2 has been it's been limited. Not that I don't like it, I'm just so busy. See, he's still moving because now he still has this this flutist on him, so I'm going to take this off. Now he won't move. I'm really curious how that music in the background turned out. Hopefully it's an appropriate volume and just a nice little bit of something, because I like having a bit of music while I work. I really do. I think just being in the darkness, silence here would be weird. Oh, it's taking forever to load. There we go. Okay, snap in. Okay, so snapped in up here. I'm going to go and turn off the tools and the mirror. And yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This is so next level because I am in this theater right now. I am looking down into the yard where I guess there would be 700 people standing. That does seem possible. It looks like a pretty banging place, that's for sure, with 1,500 people in here. But yeah, I just think being able to do this animation in the actual place that later you're going to come off and you're going to see me is magical. Every character that I've recorded so far using this method has been just truly amazing. And being up there right now in those rafters, or mezzanine, or what's called, is amazing. So I think that's all I'm going to do today. This was probably 3 or 4 main topics, setting it up, solving some of the issues, snapping into character, some of the uses of this tool. Again, if you're a developer and you're thinking, how do I get my hands on this, link below to R1 Tools. You can reach out to Rob1, and certainly you can tell him Matthew sent you, Immersive Matthew. He definitely would be very appreciative. He wrote the tool, and eventually, like I said, it will end up in the store. We collaborated on it together last year, but it was always destined for him to go and put it in the store, and hopefully he can make some good money at it, because it's a really brilliant tool. I feel so honored to have had access to it for almost the last year now. It's been, believe it or not, time really flies by. And it's a great tool. So I'm going to continue to show more about this tool and the entire animation process, especially if you're out there and you're, you like to get into virtual Imagineering. this is the channel for you, because truly, ask me anything. And I'll go check chat right now. It's a little quiet today. First time I've recorded in a long time. Hey, thanks, Kwon. You too. Thanks for being awesome. You know, this is this video is really for those who are interested in making their own dark ride, and we're, I believe, in the early days of this technology, and I do feel pretty confidently, to some degree, there's going to be a whole genre of dark rides, because I think the data is pretty compelling when you look at the planet, any society, and you look at the people who are playing games or playing really, interactive media, which takes some thinking and some coordination, and it can be a little draining on a lot of people sometimes, and buttons you're pressing, and maintaining inventories, and that's a lot for people. A lot of people like linear narrative experiences, and something like Netflix is truly a good example of that. And there's way more people watching Netflix every night than all the gamers combined. Like, there's way more. And so I think there's going to be a big market for these linear narrative experiences. And so I think in order for this genre to take off, we need a lot more developers making these rides. And there's probably some of you who are watching now or are going to watch in the future, or maybe over on my Discord, link below if you want to come join us, who would love to make their own dark ride. I know for sure there are some of you. And so this is your channel to ask me questions, and I will do show and tell. I will show you everything and how I have made this tech, so that you can replicate it and make your own version of a dark ride. And I hope that I can take months or even more time off of you trying to figure it out by just giving you some shortcuts, because I've really sort of figured out that sweet spot for the Oculus Quest for 1 and 2, and how to optimize it, how to make these rides work in that environment with these sort of characters, and many of them. So ask away. Tomorrow's video or the day after, I don't know when, I'm not really a scheduled person, but I'll be doing more of these videos. It's probably going to be a continuation on of this character, plus the one that I'm going to have doing the actual speech that we talked about, the All the World's a Stage, plus some other supporting characters that you kind of hear in the background, and maybe some directors and some others. I need something going on to make it interesting, like some sort of not just a whole monologue for a minute, but maybe something happens. So I had to really think this through. It's part of the art, and it's really part of the fun of making these rides. And frankly, if anyone's watching and those on the Discord, feedback, ideas, very welcome. I'm hoping that you could be part of this experience in developing this genre with me. So that's it for today. I'm really glad you're with me, and we'll see you all in the metaverse. Okay, see you later. Bye.